What's up, everyone? It is Sunday night, which means it's time to wind down your weekend with Bat City Comic Professionals. We are at our shop in Bradenton, Florida. As usual, I am Small Press Shann, and I am here once again with Wednesday Phil. What's up, Phil?
Hello. Back at it.
Yes, we missed you last week.
Yeah, I was going to say, last week you did the solo show.
I did. It was interesting. I haven't done a solo show since I worked at Book People in Austin, the bookstore. I did all of my shows there every Thursday solo. And it was me and an iPad on my own. And so it was weird because I hadn't done that since then. And I was like, I don't know if I'm being like too long, too loud or whatever, but I'm going to keep going.
I mean, I feel like when it's just you up here, you can just do whatever.
I can do whatever. I don't feel like I'm overwhelming you. Don't know if you know, I know you know, but you at home may know this, but this is the first time. We don't normally do this on Instagram, but I wanted to bring it into Instagram Live just so people would know that we do it. But every Sunday night, we hang out here, we hang out on Facebook, which is also at Bat City Comic Books, and we hang out usually from about 9:15 to when we run out of comics for the week, and we talk about all of the brand new, mostly indie comics that came out that week, and all the other like ongoing titles that are hitting the shelves, and while we're doing that, we review a bottle of wine. So this wine specifically came from one of our customers, Mike, and it is from Trader Joe's, and he called it $2 Chuck because this wine used to be $2.99, so it may or may not be good. I have not tried it yet ever, but this is the Cab Sav version of it. So
it tastes like $2 wine.
It does taste like. It doesn't taste as $2 as I thought it would, but it does taste like $2 wine.
It's wine.
I mean,
that's really all I can say.
Oh my gosh.
It's an intense flavor, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I definitely think it tastes like a $7 bottle of wine, but it's not as sugary as I thought. I thought it was going to be just sugar because it is only $2, so I thought they were just going to load it up with sugar instead of wine flavors, but I mean, it does actually have some like grapey taste to it. Kind of does taste like grape juice. Kind of tastes like a Welch's aired out for a while.
Like if I left out a bottle of Welch's for like 2 months.
Well, this is the Cab Sav. I'm curious to see. I know this used to be $2.99. He said it's now $3.99, so it's now $4 Chuck. But this is the Charles Shaw blend red wine. Their Cab Sav specifically from Trader Joe's. It's like it doesn't have like any kind of description or anything. It's just like, hey, this is a red one.
From Trader Joe's.
From Trader Joe's. So, if you're in a fix for some wine, it will definitely do the job.
I want to know what's so special about it being a Charles Shaw blend.
I don't know. I think that's just like the name of all of them. Like they're all Charles Shaw. Is the like that's like the brand, the name of the wine is Charles Shaw. I don't know. It's not as sugary or as abrasive as I expected for a $2 wine, but it is definitely a $2 wine.
I felt tired before I took that sip of wine, and now
he's
more
gonna fight somebody
than I should be at this time of night.
Well, here you go. We're going to be drinking this wine and talking about some comics, and probably mostly talking about comics at this point.
Yes.
But we've got a lot going on this week, and we're going to talk about each of those things. And I want to start with, I definitely need that page that is on top from that. We are going to start with also just kind of taking a quick moment to talk about Jason David Frank.
Yeah, I saw that news about an hour ago.
Oh man, yeah, you've been at work since like 6 a.m.
Yeah, that hurt. That stung a little. I'd only met the dude once or twice, kind of randomly at conventions. He was one of those where I was like, I don't need an autograph or a picture, but just to like, hey, how's it going? I remember that one movie you were in that I loved so much, where you went to the island and became different Power Rangers. That shit was cool. But, that I was not expecting that. He was so young. He was only 49.
Yeah.
Good
I'm surprised he was 49. I felt like he was younger than that. I thought he was closer to my age. But yeah. I've also met him at a couple of conventions and things over time. He was always very nice to all of the fans, and I know he was a huge inspiration to a lot of people. My news feed on Facebook today was all of those people sharing their stories, and so many of our Bat Fam members are martial artists who are from Texas, and they've had their chance to talk with him and train a little bit with him over time, and they were just like, it was a really hard one for them.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I've only ever heard good things about him. I'd see all the videos of him, talking to every kid, and it just, that's tough. I saw it because of a TikTok. This dude was just bawling his eyes out over the fact that he had died, and I was just like, wait, no, this can't be true.
I saw it this morning when I first woke up, and it was one of those where I was like, I'm going to wait and see if there's any confirmation, because there's only one site that was confirming it, and it was down, which I was like, it's either because everybody is coming here to read the article or because they pulled the article because it's not true. Right. And then, like I said, I know so many people who've trained with him and things, and they were like, hey, this is coming from his trainer, it's coming from his family. Like, this is a thing. And I was like, oh, I guess we have to accept that that's real, which, it's just, all the love to his family and his friends and his fans, because I know this was, again, especially for so many 90s kids, this was a big one.
Oh, yeah. I have intentions on my next day off of watching the Power Rangers movie. We watched it at the last shop.
We did.
There was a night, I remember when we sat down and all watched it. Still holds up.
Exactly the same as it did before.
Oh my god!
Because it was cheesy the first time around.
Still top tier in the world of movies. Like Dark Knight, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
This bottle of wine. They're all right.
No, for me, that movie has a lot of nostalgic value, of course. But even as an adult, I still love it.
Yeah.
I have a ton of fun. It's just how ridiculous the Power Rangers concept in general of like these 5 teenagers who...
With attitude.
Yeah, with attitude, and also do all this like crazy stuff that most high schoolers don't do.
Yeah.
Where they're like, hey guys, today we're gonna skydive. And then go rollerblading through the city.
They like skydive into rollerblading, which is what's super cool.
It's just fantastic.
You can go get the other bottle of wine if you're dying.
It's alright.
Like, don't hurt yourself.
I'm gonna do one of those pouring over the shoulder.
Right.
Pretending like I'm drinking.
Please don't. There's
no,
this. Like the presses are behind you. Please don't do that. We've got. Anthony says great movie, and Daniel says that was extremely sad he passed, especially the way he did. Been a sad few weeks for losing icons of our childhood. And,
wait, to whoever said that, how did he die?
They are reporting as of now, which again, not a confirmation from his family, but there is the reports now that he committed suicide.
Oh man, I didn't want to hear that.
Yeah.
I didn't want to know that.
Yeah.
And he shaved his hair into a mohawk last night.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess he gave an erratic interview and then shaved his hair.
Yeah. And again, I don't know if there's confirmation of that, but that seems to be what the majority of the people are reporting at this point.
I wonder if he dealt with like mental issues.
He's definitely had a lot of stress on him. I think I've read some things, changes in like his family structure and things like that over time. People tried to kill him at conventions last year.
What?
Yeah, like a guy was arrested for bringing all these weapons in and said he was only there so that he could kill him. And it was
that guy sucks.
That guy really sucks. So there was a lot, going on that people don't talk about as much. So I bet that, there's been a lot. And honestly, look at Robin Williams. When that happened, everybody was like, there's no way that Robin Williams was depressed. And it's like the people who are going around doing the most to make sure other people are happy, a lot of them are doing that because that's what they are hoping to get that happiness back in return, but also they kind of wish somebody was doing that for them, And it's like you give these acts of service because you hope for that. You get that buzz of happiness from doing it, and you feel connected when the rest of the time you don't. So honestly, before we even talk about anything else, whether that is the case or isn't the case for Jason David Frank, like if you are in a situation where you feel that you need help, please reach out to somebody. There are hotlines that are there to help you. You can always find a friend. You can come here and talk about all the things that make you happy, and we're always happy to listen and be buddies that you can have. So, but there's friends everywhere. Don't wait till it's too late. Find somebody that you can talk to.
Look, and also, if you're somebody who comes to the shop or just watches this online or YouTube, message the shop. I will give you my personal phone number. Like, I deal with depression myself. I know how important it is to just have somebody, so I'll give out my phone number too, just if you just want to talk about your emotions. I'm here for it because it does help. It helps immensely.
Absolutely. But, you know, again, love to his family and to his friends, and again, very importantly, to his fans, because I know a lot of people are hurting today. Yeah. We are going to talk about some comics now on a happier note for the night. We're going to kick it off with some things that are continuing this week before we get to our number ones. Up first is Deadliest Bouquet, issue 4 from Image Comics. This has been such a fantastic series. It's all about 3 girls who are all named after flowers. I mean, you can put it to where if you can't see it all on Instagram, you should hop over to our Facebook so you can see the whole thing, or follow us on YouTube so you can catch it tomorrow.
I'll really Vanna White
but
this.
He's gonna do some motion movements tonight.
I'll do motion.
But this is a story of 3 sisters who are all named after flowers, and their mother owns a flower shop. Except one of the things that we learned very early on is that there's more to the mom than just a florist. She has a past as an assassin in some way. Not sure if that's a sanctioned assassin or if it's just kind of her own thing. But at the very beginning of the book, we find out the mother has been murdered. And all 3 sisters have now returned home to kind of figure out who could have possibly killed their mom. And they're working out this crime. Of course, they're being pulled in by the police officers. They're going through all the investigation work. But they're doing their own investigation because they have all been trained by their mother to also be assassins and kind of these like secret badass spies. And so they are all doing their best to research this. And so we're starting to see the pieces of the puzzle of who each one is, but also how they come together and how they fall apart. So you have Rose, who's lived at home, who was with the mom, who was taking care of her, who was helping her with the florist shop. And then you've got Violet, who's like the wild one, who like the first night, she's like, well, y'all aren't getting information fast enough, so I'm going to go get in a fight with all these people and beat them up. And kind of end up in jail, and then like, oh, well, while I'm not in jail, I'm going to find out what the cops know. Like, she's like the do it the crazy way. And then you have Poppy, who pretended like she was never a part of it and got married and had kids and is kind of just trying to get away from it all. And all 3 sisters bring these different elements back into the family dynamic as they try to solve this murder. And it's really cool the way they did this particular issue, because the sisters are doing their investigation at the same time as the cops are doing their investigation. So it's going back and forth on the dialogue to where the sisters will start a conversation, and then the cops will finish it in their panels, and it just goes back and forth, and it's like, oh, who's going to get there first, basically, and are they going to figure out, like, are they going to blame the sisters because the cops are seeing the same evidence and thinking it points towards the sisters, and the sisters are seeing the evidence and thinking it points towards other people. And so it's been a great mystery. It's got a fantastic creative team, fantastic cast of characters. If you haven't jumped into Deadliest Bouquet, I highly recommend it. We're 4 issues in, but that's not too late. If you do like single issues to jump on, if you're a trade waiter, I'm sure we're getting close to that first arc, if not the end of the series. So, you know, that maybe if you're a trade waiter, you're close enough to wait, but if you're not, still time to jump in.
Well, it's Image, so you've probably got, 2 more issues?
Probably.
In the arc?
I would imagine. At least in the arc.
Okay.
Yeah. So, up next from Phantasmagoria, from Black Caravan, we have issue 3 of Phantasmagoria. This is such a cool book. I know you've read 1 and 2, I think?
I just read 1.
You read 1? Okay.
And I think I was not here for issue 2.
That might be the case.
Maybe.
This is an entirely black and white book. I recently learned that at least the first issue came out from a smaller press than Scout, and then the book got picked up by Scout and had a really cool revamp.
Really?
Yeah, it was really cool to go page by page in the first issue and like match up the scenes. But all about Victorian London, and we have a detective that's kind of like the situation in From Hell, where he's investigating all the paranormal stuff. And in issue 1, that detective has found a woman who has been possessed, and he's trying to get the demon out of her and kind of save her before anything can happen. And he thinks that he succeeds in that, and in fact does not. And we find out that there is this ancient battle essentially going on between him and a local wizard. And they are both kind of trying to get to this demon first. One to exorcise it, and the other to exercise control over it. And as issue 3 comes into play, we see their backstory and their connecting pieces, and we learn some interesting things about our side characters that might lead us into even more darkness as we go. And then, of course, by the end, it just completely hits the fan.
I did read issue 2 of this, now that I think about it. Because there's the bald bad guy that I really like. Because he's very much like a typical villain.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is one of those series that I've enjoyed so far. I picked this up and I was like, I feel like there's one other book that has covers that look similar to this, where I'm like, I haven't read that one. But then again, I feel like there's just so many comics that come out that I'm just like, I don't remember what I have and haven't read.
There's so many, and they're all good.
Yeah, it's just, and this is Black Caravan. I mean, I always trust in everything that they do. So, yeah, this is one that I definitely want to read this issue now, but everyone should be reading this one. As somebody who typically prefers color art, this one shines with the black and white art.
Yeah. Yeah, that black and white art works perfectly for the time period and for the story it's telling. So, and it's only issue 3, so you're not too far behind. We actually have issues 1 and 2, so if you're looking to jump in, you can definitely still catch up. I'm going to switch to this because since you're talking about art that you love, I feel like you should talk about 10,000 Black Feathers,
yes.
issue 3 from Image Comics on the Bone Orchard Mythos imprint, essentially, from Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino.
The best creative team in comic book history for me. I think I can officially say that I don't like any other creative team more than these two. Because everything they do is just, it's so fantastic. Jeff Lemire has obviously proven himself to be one of the greatest writers ever, but anytime he gets with Sorrentino, the art, it's just magnificent. And this is the story of a girl who kind of goes back to her hometown to figure out what happened to her friend who went missing years ago. And this kind of picks up where issue 2 left off. The main character, Trisha, has come back to her town, and she's doing a lot of research, talking to people, trying to figure it out. But you also get the flashback, so it's kind of a back and forth of the night that Jackie is the girl who went missing. So you get the flashback of kind of the events leading up to her going missing, and then in the present day with Trish going around. And in this issue, she meets with the guy that supposedly killed her friend a long time ago. He claims that he never did, and obviously we know he's telling the truth, because there's some crazy, creepy shit going on. And the end of this issue, ooh boy.
Yeah, this
the lid came off, and I'm here for all of it.
Yeah.
All of it.
This issue, I think Sorrentino's like weird paneling works so well for this book, because you don't know what's real and what isn't while she's experiencing it, and it takes you a little bit of time of doing your own detective work behind the scenes of the story to kind of figure it out. And so it works really well with Sorrentino's paneling, because it's almost like where your eye goes is the right clue, but what she says goes in a different direction. And so you feel the misleading of what she's thinking and what she's saying from what is actually possibly true. And so it's so cool to kind of look at like, oh, well, my eye leads here, but the story goes here. And it's like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing here. And it's such a cool thing. Honestly, if you haven't jumped in on this book yet, you definitely need to. I know a lot of people said, well, I didn't jump in on 10,000 Black Feathers because I didn't read The Passageway. They're not connected. It's just basically the equivalent of having an imprint for the Bone Orchard mythos. So it's basically like Sorrentino and Lemire were like, we have a whole bunch of ideas for some horror books, and we might find out that they're all in like the same town in the end, but they are just kind of horror stories in the same style as of now. So if you didn't read the hardcover, The Passageway, it doesn't matter. This connects in no way, shape, or form right now. We might find out someday that the entire universe was like, oh, there's this one thread that goes through the whole thing, but we won't know that. And they've said if you read them as standalones and not connect, like you don't pick up everything, you're not going to be lost. So jump in.
Yeah, I feel like Lemire is kind of doing the Kevin Feige thing here, where he's building this universe. And I think, and to me, I feel like I need to go back and read The Passageway, because I feel like I see things in this that I saw in that book, but again, it could just be similar art. But I feel like it's going to be one of those things where there's little pieces, and like you said, he's kind of stringing everything together. But I'm here for it regardless.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm expecting really great things, and hopefully, much like the MCU, in 5 years, I can look to everyone and be like, I told you, this is the creative team. This is the book. This is the universe. So yeah, and 3 issues in, I don't know if this is going to be.
It's a 5 or 6 part series. Okay. I can't remember. I think 6 for this one. They go back and forth between like single issue, like trades, and like 5 part, like 6 part series. So I think this one is either 5 or 6. I can't remember, but I did just see, I don't know if you saw the announcement, Jeff Lemire announced that one of the free comic book day titles is the issue 1 for a non-connected to this series that he's doing on his own. So it looks very much like Maze Book and things like that. It's going to be an all Jeff Lemire series, and it's one of the free comic book day announcements that came out. The whole list of free comic book day titles is out. I haven't looked at the whole thing yet because I'm super excited, but then I want to have enough time to like sit there and like geek out about every single one and then move on.
Because I used to be the same way, where it was like I want to see all the titles and figure out which ones I'm going to get. But I've learned recently that I'm more intrigued when I show up and I'm like, whoa, what is this? Oh, cool, they did this. Like when y'all had the Halloween Fest here, and they had the Godzilla one, I was like, what? Yeah. This is so cool. I didn't even know this was coming. So I
don't have that luxury because I have to order them.
Well, yeah.
That's why I was like, I want to sit down and read about all of them because I have to order them, and I actually have to do a write-up of which ones are for kids and which ones are for teens, specifically for the Manatee Public Library, so they can order them. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, so I'm like, I actually have to sit there and read them. But up next, from IDW on their original imprint, we have issue 4 of True Kult. Which I love. They put a quote on the back of every book, and this one is, you can receive the chains or you can wield them. And it's a quote from somebody who is sitting there, like, who is explaining to them, like, why they chose to follow into the, like, cult and the religion that they're in, because they're like, well, we figured out that when you get to hell, you can either receive chains or you can wield them. And I was like, ooh, what a great quote that is. But this is a great book. It is about 3 fast food workers who are at their job. They love their job and hate their job all at the same time because they're fast food workers. But these are people who, it's like, this is their choice. This is their career. They're super, like, gung-ho into it. And it starts with 2 people. And weirdly, in the first one of them's like, I'm going on this quest and I'm going to rob this place and I'm going to steal all this stuff. And I really, like, I don't know, I'm going to, like, kill these people and take this stuff. And it's a weird thing that you wouldn't imagine this person doing, but there we are. Kind of feels a little chicken devil-y in that first issue. And then he's interviewing a new candidate for work, and she's like, I love everything about this job. I love this and this. And she like writes down, like starts rehashing like the menu items from 1987 that she studied and how she loved them and all this different stuff. And they just instantly bond, which is great because immediately following their interview, they're kidnapped by a cult who says, hey, we want to take down this ancient leader of this cult. And we think y'all are the perfect people to do it. So we're kidnapping you and we're going to force you to go take this person down. And when you're done with that, we'll may or may not release you. Meanwhile, they never show up back to work. So the manager, who happens to be friends with them, has now gone out on a quest to figure out where her best worker and her interviewee have disappeared to. And so she's doing this little investigation work at the same time. It's super great. If you haven't read this book, it's hilarious. It makes the idea of like working in the service industry like super fun, but also it just like brings a whole new idea of like that whole, you know, cult story. And like it's like if you blended Vinyl and Chicken Devil together with like a Secret Stash kind of comic, and you're gonna get, but it's like these long quotes from them when they start talking. They just they can't stop. They just go into these food conversations and it just keeps going, and it's fantastic. So issue 4, check it out. IDW, their originals are really killing it right now.
Yeah, I've been impressed. This was one I missed, but as someone who's worked in fast food before, I want to read it.
Which is really funny because you weren't here for issue 1 and Josh was, and I was like, hey, at least read this one because it's kind of like a pick of the week feel kind of story. Yeah. And now Josh is obsessed with it. And it's always like, oh my God, did you read the new True Cult? And I'm like, see, you get on the indie book, you're not getting off. Like, it's so great. But Brian says, greetings from Pennsylvania. Hello, Brian. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, that's Bronze Age Brian. He is watching on Instagram. If you are watching this on Instagram, just a reminder, we do this every Sunday night at 9-ish on Facebook. I say ish because we never really like start at exactly 9 o'clock, but facebook.com/Bat City Comic Books. You can check it out. If you don't have Facebook, it always pops up on YouTube within like the next day or so. And we cover all the indie books that you probably didn't pick up that week, and maybe hopefully some that you did, in hopes that you'll find some new titles that you can fall in love with. Speaking of titles that people fall in love with when they pick it up, is By the Horns from Scout Comics. This is volume 2. This is Dark Earth, and this is issue 6 of the second volume. And this is one of the strangest stories ever. And every time somebody asks me what By the Horns is, I'm like, okay, so there's this girl named Elodie, and she has the coolest outfit of all time, but her husband was murdered, possibly by unicorns, and she's really angry about it. So she goes on a quest to kill the unicorns she thinks killed her husband, and then is like, oh, you know what, I'll just take out all unicorns, because I don't know which one it was. And in the process of killing unicorns, she runs across, learns that there's this evil sorcerer who's actually destroying all of the villages and towns and magical creatures, and she's like, okay, well, I'll take that out. And it turns out she has to work with unicorns to do it. So she learns a little bit about unicorns in the process and herself, and what actually happened to her husband. There's a silent issue in volume 1 that's just like the story from when her and her husband meet all the way to like his death, and it is the saddest, most emotional, most beautiful thing. But in this volume 2, Elodie has taken out this evil sorcerer's power, or so she thought. And now we find new problems that she must deal with as she's trying to figure out how to reset the world that got messed up in the process of all of her destruction from volume 1. And maybe there's more destruction to come. But it's actually just a really beautiful story of friendship, and then also has this really awesome bright colored art that I always say, if you're a fan of manga or any of the anime style art, you would actually probably really fall in love with this book over the course of time. And it's Scout, so it's awesome, and it's like teen and everybody's safe. So
it's definitely a beautiful book.
Yes,
the colors on this are fantastic.
Seriously.
I feel like this was one when, like, the first few issues came out, you were kind of, like, you were into it, but you were like, you know, it's good, but, like, it's not the best.
When the silent issue came out, it changed everything.
Yeah, because I feel like you've been on this one for a while where you're like, I need to tell people about this book.
Yeah, and it's one of those where I think teenagers, again, that are, like, especially teens who are into manga and anime, like, this is a great crossover into comics for them. But that one issue, that silent issue, just changed my entire opinion of the book, for sure. Which, generally speaking, happens. If you make a silent issue and you do a good job of it, you're probably going to change my entire opinion of your comic one way, like, for sure.
You know who did a silent issue? Squirrel Girl.
Squirrel Girl. Well, you didn't need to convince me to like Squirrel Girl.
I know, but
for everybody else.
For those who haven't read Squirrel Girl yet, you need to read Squirrel Girl.
You should be reading Squirrel Girl. Up next, speaking of Secret Stash Press, as we were earlier, and Dark Horse Comics, we have issue 3 of Maskerade. Have you gotten to read this yet?
I read half of the first issue, but I remember when that first issue came out and I was sitting there trying to read it. It's not Mike. Who's Mike's friend? Remind me. Larry was in here, and Larry started talking to me, and I was like, oh, wait, I guess I'll talk to Larry.
You missed out. Way to go, Larry. Way to go. You have to go back.
From what I remember, that was the conversation where I was like, I like this dude. This guy's cool.
Well, good. It worked out, I guess. But you have to go back and read the series now, because it's super cool.
I mean, it's Kevin Smith.
It's a Kevin Smith book.
It'll definitely happen.
I think you have all the copies anyway. But this is the story of a woman who is trying to get revenge on the whole world. We do learn that there's, over the course of the last 3 issues, we've learned there's actually a list of specific people and why those specific people. And honestly, this 3rd issue gives us all of the information about everything. What the first 2 issues have kind of just been exposition and action. Or action, not exposition. This one's kind of the exposition that explains all the action we've seen. But our main character has a mask that she wears that makes her face change to be whoever she wants it to be. And then once she lures people into her web, essentially, she kills them or gets them arrested or all kinds of different things, whatever she needs to happen to them. In issue 1, she's kind of just taking out some pedophiles and doing some things like that, and in issue 2, she's taking out other skeezy people, and now we kind of figure out why she's doing all of these things. Other than that, like, there's nothing wrong with her choice for issues 1 and 2, but we now figure out, like, who she's going after and why she's going after them. And honestly, this is one of those where issue 3 being the Shann rule of 3, like, you read 3 issues and kind of see where you're at. This one definitely kind of fills you in on so much stuff and gives you so many little twists and turns that it's like, oh man, now I'm completely sold and I want to see where this is going. Like, I love this character even more. I love her backstory. I love her forestory. Like, I just want to see where all this is going because it's going to be great. So if you haven't picked up Maskerade issues 1 and 2, I highly recommend it because with issue 3 coming out this week, it's definitely, honestly, at this point, I think it's my favorite book on the Secret Stash imprint.
Of the 2?
There's 3, I think. There's the Clerks one, the Quick Shops, and then this one, and there's at least another one that I've ordered. I think. Yeah.
I think there is a 3rd one coming.
Yeah.
But, there's a small part of me that is, like, excited that Kevin Smith is making comics again, but is irritated that
you have to spend money.
No, is that he hasn't even begun to, like, think about finishing his Batman trilogy. Because he left the 2nd volume on such a huge cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh my god, I need you to finish this series. And he's just like, I'm never going to do it.
Well, Kevin Smith, if you're watching, Phil's already dead. But if you ever see this, go back and finish your Batman just for Wednesday Phil. He'd love to see
or just contact me and tell me how you plan to finish it.
Up next, we've got another Scout book. We've got issue 2 of She Bites. I love this book so much. Oh my gosh. So This is, yes, yeah, you gotta show it to the Instagram people since we included them this time. This is, She Bites is the story of a vampire who was turned when she was a little girl. Been a vampire for hundreds of years. Very bitter, very angry. Kind of like Kirsten Dunst's character in Interview with the Vampire, if you saw the movie. Or Gert from I Hate Fairyland. And in this particular story, this childlike vampire has decided that what she wants more than anything is to be able to drink and smoke and do adult activities. But everybody thinks she's a kid in modern America, so they won't let her do anything. So her solution, she needs a babysitter. She needs an adult who can do this. So she puts out an ad in the paper, gets a babysitter, she hires this girl and is like, okay, well, now your job is to be my babysitter. And the girl's like, okay, well, like, when's your bedtime and stuff? She's like, no, you idiot. Like, I'm not a child. I mean, I need you to buy me cigarettes and alcohol. And she's like, oh. So they go on all of these adventures together. Already in the first 2 issues, we are seeing some crazy stuff. And I love it because she's an older teenager. And, like, they've just, graduating high school level, the babysitter is. And the vampire is like, oh, what's wrong with you? Like, because they go to the mall, and she's like, what's wrong with you? Why are you acting like you're afraid about these people? And she's like, oh, those are the popular kids in school, and they make fun of me. And she's like, do you want me to kill them? Do you want me to rip their spleens out? Like, I can do that for you. And she's like, can I get back to you on that? And so you get this, like, friendship growing in this weird, very, very strange relationship between these two. It's fantastic. It is absurd, and it is hilarious, and it is everything I always want in a Scout comic book. So that's really, I mean, honestly, I could have just started there. It is exactly what I want from a Scout book. It's funny. It's got cool action. It's got a little bit of horror. It's great. Matt's nodding his head. Yes, Matt, you were even like, oh, She Bites #2 is out. This is great.
Yeah, was this the only book you read this week?
Yeah, so far. Yeah, you'll read Something That's Killing the Children later.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Armageddon game.
Yeah. Did you read this one this week?
I didn't,
okay.
But I saw.
Okay, cool. So to, like, not show page 1. Up next from Dark Horse is issue 2 of Revolvers. I guess I can hand it to you.
This is Top Cow?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I said Dark Horse. Yes, from Top Cow and Image Comics. Oh my gosh. I cannot read, apparently. So, but this is issue 2 of Revolvers, and Phil's finding a safe page for the internet. This is a story. I love the way you explained this the first time. I don't know if you remember how you did it, but it's a story about a guy who has these enchanted revolvers. This is the one where the revolver, like, has the words, like, talks to him.
Yeah, I don't remember how I described this one last time.
I know, it was so perfect, though. It was, like, the most succinct way of saying it. But, I mean, this guy, he was a cop, and up until he gets shot at the beginning of the first issue, and now he's kind of in this limbo world, and it's like, hey, you've got to fight your way out of here. And his body in the main world is in not in a coma. He's in, I think they call it, oh my gosh, there's something specifically they say, but it's it's where you're basically dead, but your mind lives on a little bit longer. And while he's in that state, he's having to fight for everything that he didn't get done on Earth. And in the process of all of that, in this issue, we find out who might be responsible for killing him and why he might have died, and a bunch of crap that's going to go on back on Earth. And he is trying as hard as possible to make sure that stuff doesn't happen. So now we kind of have, like, this murder mystery, and he's actually working as a detective, but he's a dead detective, and he's got these revolvers that, like, print words on it that, like one time somebody's saying something to him, he's like, how do I know you're not lying? And he holds the gun, like, at the guy's head, like he's gonna shoot the guy, and the gun says truth. And he's like, okay, I guess you're not. And it's like, oh, this is, like, you're getting more. You're not just saying, like, bang or doing different things. Like, this is, like, actually, like, giving him information as he goes now. So it's a really cool premise for how this is going to go. Like, you've seen bits and pieces of this in other books recently, and they kind of, like, brought them all together, and they're telling a really cool story with it. It gets a little nude. There's a lot of nudity in this issue and a lot of violence. So this is definitely, like, only for mature readers. But
I like the art, though.
Yeah.
And this issue, I didn't read this one, but there was one of the ones that was like at the top of the pile as I was trying to finish before we started, and I do want to read this because I enjoyed that first issue. Because I remember, if I remember correctly, it was wasn't this the book where like he starts out by saying, like, this is my last day on the job?
Yes.
Yeah.
And was like, oh, because I died.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cool concept, I always like, when you got dudes fighting demons in hell and
right.
stuff.
Who doesn't like people fighting demons? Up next, a series I thought was over and recently came back is West of Sundown from Vault Comics. This is the start of Volume 2, essentially. Issue 6 is where we're at. And this is the Universal Monsters, essentially, in the Old West. So, Volume 1 follows along as a woman who is essentially our Dracula character, a vampire, and her familiar are living in New York, and she realizes that in order to survive, she really needs to go back to where she's from and find her home soil, because something has happened to the jar of dirt she keeps with her, essentially. And so she goes back to her home, and she has to fight a bunch of people because a lot of things have gone wrong in the situation. There's all kinds of stuff happening on her home soil, which is destroying it, which is why she's getting sick. In the process, we meet, some Frankenstein monster, like made men kind of people. We see some werewolves. We see all kinds of things. This one actually opens really, really cool. As you can see, this opens with her having to, the people having to face down La Llorona. And I opened it up and I was like, oh, we just took this up another notch with our monster references. Like, this is super cool. So really awesome to see them bringing in some other monsters, and they're already referencing some more that might make appearances in this. But you've got a really just classic old Western story told completely through the faces of monsters. And if you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. I love that the original volume actually had Western movie homage posters for the variants. I mean, it's Tim Seeley, so you're getting a good story. You're getting some really cool art. You're getting a vault book, so it's gonna be great. If you didn't get it, I know that those trades of volume 1 have to be coming soon. And you're gonna love it if you didn't get it. I do have issues for the first run, so if you're looking for any of them, let us know. I just got somebody hooked on it yesterday and was like, oh man, you're gonna love it. So West of Sundown, check it out.
Yeah, I feel like this is one of those where people are like, would I like this? It's like, do you like Universal Monsters?
Yeah.
Because if the answer is yes, then yes.
Yeah, then you do. That's literally what I usually say. I'm like, do you like the Old West? Do you like Universal Monsters? Then you're going to love this book. On our Instagram version of the show, I don't know if you saw it, but our buddy John Justice said 2 of my favorite peeps.
Hey, John.
What's up, John? Good to see your name and some words and pretend that it's your face.
Also, I know it's a two-way street, but you don't ever message me.
Aww.
Ever. You just send me reels on Instagram.
Same.
Huh?
Same.
Oh, Matt.
It's probably the same ones. He probably just sends them to a few people. And doesn't personalize. What?
Calling you out.
Music stuff?
No. No, okay. So then he personalizes it. I'm sorry, John. I'm sorry.
I get pictures of the adorableness that is his child being cute. So, I feel like I'm winning because she's
personalized.
Yeah. But thanks for tuning in, John. And we got some more books. If you are watching this on Instagram, just a reminder, we normally do this on Facebook. So if you want to see more of the art right now, pop over to facebook.com/BatCityComicBooks or check this out on YouTube anytime after tomorrow. And you can see the full page scans that we're doing of the art. Up next, though, we have issue 2 from Madcave of A Legacy of Violence. This is the other book Matt's going to read this week, for sure. This is Cullen Bunn and Andrea Moody, which is honestly becoming a team that we're seeing fairly, we're starting to see some regularity of this kind of bond right here. And this is a book that I sold out of immediately of issue 1. And I got more in, so if you are like, oh, I want to jump in on this, this is definitely one that you can, we did get more in, but it was definitely the one that flew off the shelf with issue 1. And this is a story of a man who's a doctor, and in issue 1, he has a patient come in, and he's destroyed. All kinds of things have happened to him, and he's in the process of dying even further, essentially, from where he already is. And he whispers something about a certain room to the doctor, and the doctor becomes kind of haunted by the idea. So he takes off and goes into like a Doctors Without Borders kind of situation, so he can get to where this room is. And now we are there, and we're with him, and we see him as he is working his way towards that room to kind of get some information. But we are starting to see the community figure out that there are these crazy, ridiculous, insane murders. And the murder that specifically happens in this one was like, oh my god, this is insane. So it's not a book for the faint of heart, honestly. Like, if you're like, violence is, it's called A Legacy of Violence, so if violence is a thing you can't handle, this is definitely kind of a graphic book. There is, at one point, a person walks into the room, and the dress they are wearing is definitely Bunny Mask's dress. So Andrea is throwing little bits of his own universe around. This isn't an Aftershock book, but it's like he drew the little lines from the Bunny Mask dress on this dress. So I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, when he was here, he talked about how he likes to throw Easter eggs into all of his books and have them not necessarily connect in some way, but just to like, hey, these are things I do.
Yeah. It was super cool. I got excited because usually when he does the Easter eggs, I'm like reading the story so quickly I don't catch them. And that one I was like, whoa, that's really obvious. Even I can't miss it. So, yeah, shout out, Andrea. We love your art. You know this. And that story is really good. Up next from Scout Comics, we have issue 2 of The Life and Death of the Brave Captain Suave. There's your shot, everybody, of the cover. Hand it over to Phil. I don't know if you remember issue 1. I know we read.
Did I?
You did.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
This is the story of the homeless man who believes he's a superhero.
Oh,
you loved issue 1. I know, and I saw it in there when you handed me the box, and I was like, "Oh, you didn't read it." Do you want to tell them what issue 1 was about?
I don't remember.
Okay. Yeah. This is a story of a man who, he's a homeless man, and he is fully convinced that he is a superhero. When he looks at the world, he sees himself fighting the villains, and honestly, usually he is kind of fighting people who are they're exemplifying villainous behavior. But he sees himself in the costume and everything, and a young drug addict finds himself on the street, and the guy is like, oh, it's my sidekick. And he starts envisioning him as essentially like a young boy, like a Robin, even though he is not a young boy. He is like a mid-30s or older man, maybe in his 20s, and just done a lot of drugs, I'm not sure. But he has taken this guy in as his sidekick, and they are on random adventures. And in this particular issue, they end up having to go stay with some friends in like a warehouse, and they're like, oh, you can always find allies along the way. They go to a funeral, like they preside over a funeral, and then every time you start to believe that maybe, just maybe, Captain Suave is really a superhero, then you get these moments where you see like what's going on in the real world around him. And it makes for just a really beautiful story. Like, you get your over-the-top, like, dynamic duo, Silver Age kind of comic book storytelling, because that's what he loves. So he's telling you his own story in this kind of voice. And then it pops back to the real world, and you see this situation, and when everybody's like, oh, aren't you sad, aren't you like depressed because you're not really a superhero, he's like, what are you talking about? Anybody can be a superhero. Like, if you do the right thing, aren't you a hero? And it's such a beautiful way of telling people what the point of comic books are, honestly. It's so great. It's so beautiful. Anyway, this is only issue 2, so if you didn't read issue 1, it's still time to jump in.
I also feel like if I ever became homeless at an older age, I'd fight crime.
Oh, 100% believe that. Yeah. Yes.
That'd be the way to go. Just hanging out, going around, stopping the crimes that the cops won't handle.
You're like, I am vigilante justice.
Yeah.
I'm vengeance. Yeah, he would definitely say that to everybody.
I mean, I would just quote the entire Robert Pattinson Batman movie. I'd even do the boots clanking in the dark.
But yourself, like you'd be like,
yeah,
you're not even wearing
like
shoes.
Monty Python somehow. Just like, yeah,
I love it because you like wouldn't even have the coconuts. You would just be making the noise with your own mouth, like pretending to have some kind of.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. And I want that to be the next comic book I read. From Image Comics, we have issue 1 of Voyagis.
Yes.
It is. This is actually really, like, the artwork. The colors on this one is another really beautiful book.
Yeah, the artwork in this book, it really kind of drew me in. Also, there's, like, very kind of similarities to, like, Dune a little bit. So this is the story of an alien who I've already forgotten her name. But it's an alien name. It's one of those names where you're like, I'm probably going to forget that with all the names they throw in. But she is out with another alien scouting for natural resources in a world where all the mining and everything that's being done is for like plants and water. And of course, there's like the evil bad guy who's very much he kind of like a bishop or a king, has power, has military forces and all that, and he is also trying to hunt down all these natural resources because they power spaceships and buildings and guns. They're used as weapons and stuff, and so we are introduced to the main character. She is the last of her race, which people believed was an extinct alien race. And we're introduced to her and her partner and the bad guys, and you kind of get a little bit of, like, why this is all happening. Mm-hmm. It's your first issue info dump kind of thing, but beautiful art. I really enjoy, like I said, similarities to Dune a bit. Like, how can we suck up all these resources? You've got your cool side characters, like this badass bounty hunter robot dude. This to me, this has, like, all the typical sci-fi tropes that you would want. And, of course, the art. I mean, just magnificent. So,
I love the colors. The colors were what drew me to it in the first place.
Yes, this is the art creative side of this was all around solid.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this first issue. This is definitely one of those where I'm like, okay, but probably like when issue 2 comes out, I'll be like, wait, did I read issue 1?
You will definitely.
But then I'll open it up and I'm like, oh yeah, I really enjoyed this. It does that thing, too, where, like, anytime the bad guy talks, it's in, like, alien text, so you don't know what the bad guy's saying, which kind of also makes it intriguing as well, because you're, like, so mysterious, and I want to know more, but I'm here for it. The character designs all look really great. The ships look cool. The action sequences were there for me. So this is one of those ones where I'm like, for me, this was one of those where it was, like, almost, I thought about making a pick of the week, but it just didn't quite make it for some reason. I don't know what that is.
But we'll figure it out.
Yeah, but I'm here for it. Great first issue. Yeah. Voyagis. From Image.
From Scoot Comics, which is the kids' imprint of Scout Comics, I had to bring this. This is actually issue 1 of Stanley the Snowman. Did you get to read this?
I did.
I knew you would.
I mean,
it's so cute.
Scoot is one of those imprints. I mean, I feel like anytime I read comics on a weekly basis, if there is that one kid's book, I'm like, okay, I gotta read this.
Yes.
And, I mean, this is Frosty the Snowman.
It's Frosty the Snowman, with a familial twist.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's some history with the family.
It is a nonstop. So basically what a nonstop is from Scoot is that you get an issue 1, which tells you that works just like the regular issue 1 of a comic book, but then it immediately goes to a trade. And this actually has been released before, so the trades already do exist. So if you pick it up and you like it, because they're only $1.99 and you get like an oversized first issue, if you like it, the trade is available as well.
Yes.
Anyway, Frosty the Snowman.
But yeah, it's Frosty the Snowman, and with that family twist to it, it tells you in the beginning that essentially, like, I think it skips a generation, but every other generation, they can basically summon Stanley the Snowman. And this is the day that this girl here decides that she's going to do it, even though she finds out she did it a day early.
Yes.
But so it's kind of her going through and doing her ritual to get Stanley to come to life. And then she's like, oh, wait, I know I just brought you to life, but I have to go to school because I accidentally brought you
to life a day early.
Yeah, this was adorable.
It was absolutely adorable. Great setup for a story, like, honestly. I love all of the characters. I'm ready to see, like, who is going to be connected to this snowman presence, because she brought all this stuff from her family, and I'm like, ooh, is there going to be, like, a Jack Frost kind of situation where it's like, oh, it's really grandpa or something, like, you know. But the little twist at the end of this first issue, I was like, oh, I should have just ordered the trade. Like, why did I do this to myself? Great story. Even I was like, this cliffhanger is terrible. Love it. I want a plushie Stanley the Snowman to hug while I read the whole trade.
I mean, that would be the best way for Scout to do it, because that would be pretty awesome. And also, too, I don't know if this is the case, but where I would like for this to go after this, like, this is one of those where, like, the end of the issue happens and the reveal of how this adventure is going to unfold, where I was like, oh my god, there's so many different ways I want this to go, and I'm very excited for the possibilities.
Yes.
Like, I wish we had the trade now.
Yeah, and I might actually. I might have ordered it last year when it came out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but if not, I'll get them from Scout because it's so good. And it's the only snowman we're going to get here in Florida. Although, you can go to SeaWorld and meet the Bumble from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and I really want to. The abominable snow monster from Rudolph. They have the Rudolph cast. They have the Rudolph, like the mascot costumes. Character type things at SeaWorld for the holiday season are the Rudolph characters. I would cry.
If only I could support SeaWorld, then I would go.
Well, we got a book. I actually put it in here because I know you love your Blade. But we've got Blade, the Living Vampire, and this is a one-shot to set up the Vampire Nation, Blade Vampire Nation. This is the setup for the Bloodline series, I believe, coming soon.
Oh, really? It's just a one-shot?
I think maybe it's not. I'll check. You talk about it.
Well, I hope not, because
it's Mark Russell writing.
It is Mark Russell writing Blade, and it's an interesting Blade series, and I kind of like the way that they're going about this, because it kind of reminds me of, like, X-Men a bit, of, like, oh, let's build this nation and call it our own. So, like the title suggests, the vampires, led by Dracula, have set aside a small area in Russia, which includes Chernobyl, where they are forming a vampire nation. And Blade is the sheriff, which is just perfect. It's wonderful, because he's, like, to me, Blade is kind of like that, a bit of that, like, old curmudgeon type of detective. And that's essentially what this is. In the beginning of this issue, a military team goes in and assassinates a member of Dracula's council. And you find out that, of course, it was supposed to be Dracula that they were going in to assassinate. And Dracula basically told Blade, like, hey, I need you to figure out who did this, why did it happen, and kill everyone who had any part in this. And so this issue is Blade kind of going around and trying to figure out who did it and why they did it, and it's everything I would want. I love Detective Blade.
That's it. That's all you get.
This is it?
That's the only Blade Vampire Nation in any database, right? Sorry to burst your bubble.
So is Bloodlines going to be a Blade-centric event?
Bloodlines is a Blade story. It's gonna have, I think it's his, and it's gonna be where his, like, the story with his daughter, who they've been talking about, yeah. And
oh man, father-daughter detective team?
You know, we'll see.
Sweet.
I haven't seen anything specific. It's all in the, like, Marvel stuff, the previous catalogs, and I haven't read it all yet. But
look, all you need to know is that Blade is one of the best characters that Marvel's ever created, and that you should read. And that you should read everything that's got Blade in it. Because we need more Blade in the Marvel Universe.
Okay, so Bloodline is actually her name. Like, Bloodline is Blade's daughter.
Oh, is that a cover? Is that one of the covers?
It is.
Ooh.
She's getting her own series.
Ooh.
It's going to be a 5-issue limited series. It starts in February. And the cover, the first issue, that is actually a Ryan Stegman cover. So, yeah, and then, yeah, he's on the cover with her. So, it's written by Danny Lore, and it has art from Karen S. Darbo. And it brings Brielle, which is her actual name, but Brielle Brooks, as she tries to adjust to life at school while also developing vampiric powers and learning the truth about her identity, the identity of her father, the Daywalker known as Blade. So, we had to bring Blade back so you know what he's up to. This spins out of, I guess, the Avengers storyline.
Yes, because he was in Ed McGuinness' Avengers run. Which, about time you would put Blade on the Avengers.
Because, as Phil said, he believes he's the best. And
I didn't say he was the best. I said he is one of.
Stevie says good night. Good night.
The greatest.
Good night, Stevie. Tell Sadie and everyone hello. And Ram, we will definitely get that Blade comic into your box for you, my dude. Up next, from Vault on their Nightfall imprint, we have issue 1 of Door to Door, Night by Night. I love when you do the, like, woo swirl. You read this one.
I did. Yes, Door to Door, Night by Night. That's a tough title.
There was a lot. And honestly, it's funny because when it came in, I had forgotten what it was about, and then I read it, and I was like, how did I forget? That's literally what the whole entire premise of the book is.
Yeah.
Yeah, this... Go ahead.
Okay. This is the story of a team of salesmen. Salespeople. Yes, I'm sorry. Salespeople who pick up a hitchhiker along the way. And they are a team of salespeople who go around and offer $10 coupons for 8x10 portraits, and the money goes to volunteer firefighters.
Yes.
You also find out that for every $10 they get, they take 5 of it.
Yes.
And so they pick up this hitchhiker Maxine, who refers to herself as Max, and basically recruit her in the first 2 minutes. They're driving along, and the guy tells the whole story about who these people are, and then they're like, "Oh, I guess you could start working tomorrow." And she's like, "Oh, yeah, I mean, I guess I need to eat."
Yeah, she's like, "I wasn't planning." I was okay.
And so we get to see her out on her first day as a salesperson. She kills it, obviously, and then they all go to a bar together. Mm-hmm. And hang out, and you kind of get to find out a little bit more about these characters. They all kind of come from tough pasts. I think they say that they take all the drifters and good-for-nothings and drug addicts, and the guy even says, he's like, I want people who are hungry, and he also wants people who are going to go out and spend all their money at night.
Because he knows then they'll show up the next day.
Yes, because they need more money. And then you kind of find out that maybe there's some crazy shit that's gonna go down.
Yeah, turns out, killing it at sales isn't all these people are killing.
No.
Yeah.
And they could be more than just a team of salespeople.
Yeah.
It's Nightfall.
It's Nightfall. You know it's a horror book. Yeah. But if you know the Nightfall imprint, you know it's a horror book. I love these characters. I love how fast we got to know everybody. Yes. And also when I say I love these characters, I mean I love how they're written because they're all actually like terrible people, but they all have these like weird eccentricities that make you actually like them. And, like, you're like, oh, I kind of that's endearing that you do this. And, I see, I like this part of this person. And they're very layered very quickly. Mm-hmm. And I love that because they kind of, in the first scene, they all kind of come off as a caricature of something, you expect to be in this car. And then they all start to unroll into different characters. And I think it's really cool. I also think that it's awesome that Dee Knuth is the colorist on this book because Dee is one of my favorite colorists in comic books, and I'm super excited about that. But this is one of those books where I was like, oh, I'm gonna order a few and see where this goes, and then by the end of the first day, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have any up there. Oh my gosh, where did it go? And the more I talk about it, the more people love it. You can message the store. There's somebody that's asking about buying a comic off the wall. You can message the store and find out. We don't sell during this show. This is simply just like us talking about the books that came out this week. This is, for those joining in on Instagram, this is a show that we do on our Facebook every week to talk about the new comics that came out, and a lot of people on Instagram have asked where the show happens and what it's about. So we kind of decided this week we'd go live on Instagram just to let people see what the show looks like, but normally you can find it on Facebook / Bat City Comic Books, and we'll talk about it. No worries, don't apologize. I know most Instagram lives are usually selling, so we just wanted to kind of show you a little bit of our Facebook show. And let people see that. It also goes up on YouTube after that, so if you're not on Facebook, you can always catch this each week on YouTube to learn more about the new indie books that came out. Speaking of new indie books coming out this week, we've got Keen Spot back with another one-shot of Kid Slapshot. This time he is fighting Major Extreme, which I love because everybody's doing their rehash of the 90s and all the extreme storylines and variants, and so Keen Spot was like, hey, us too.
Yeah. Keen Spot is known for doing parody comics, mm-hmm. and this is very much parody of your Marvel universe. Essentially, Kid Slapshot in a roundabout way is kind of like Silver Surfer. Mm-hmm. Cosmic powers, skateboards and surfs around the universe. And has a great sidekick, which is a skull in a pickle jar. And they basically go around, and in this issue, they are traveling around trying to find a planet for Kid Slapshot to live on. And he is confronted by Major Extreme.
Yes. Which is great because you get all of the jokes that you've always made about every 90s character that you could possibly get, down to even a comment about the way his feet look.
Yes.
It's
they're like
fantastic.
Tiny triangles.
Yeah. It is fantastic. If you love 90s comics but also love to laugh at 90s comics, this is the ultimate experience for that. And I love that we're getting just these little one-shots with Kid Slapshot because they come out as something is happening across all the universe of the Big Two every time, and he's like, it's just like Keen Spot, like, hey, we'll say something about that if we want to play too.
Yeah. I'd say the only thing that took me out of this for 2 pages was the fact that they have a Ron Burgundy-esque character named Ron Durgandy. And I don't know, that for a brief moment I was like, can I continue reading this? And then all the Rob Liefeld slaps in the face were just...
Honestly, it worked perfectly for me because I find Ron Burgundy to be the same as all of those characters.
There's a poster
from the 90s that it's making fun of. Ron Burgundy falls right in there with them for me, of just too much, not funny, misogynistic And I was excited to see them include him in all of that conversation because he fits right in there to me. So the jokes they make about him nailed it to me.
I don't feel that way.
I know you like that movie.
I do.
I find that movie to be the worst.
Atrocious.
Yeah. So. Sorry, buddy. Honestly, I know we're the only two people in the world that don't like that movie.
Most detrimental thing to women.
Well, that's the point. That's the whole point of the movie, is how misogynistic it was back in that time period.
Yeah, but it's still misogynistic in and of itself, so it didn't comment on it the way it thought it was. That's my problem with the movie. You're not actually making commentary. Yeah. And all that people took away from the movie was all the misogynistic lines that they then used in their own personal lives. So you didn't make the point that you were trying to make. You just, like Matt said, kind of prolonged the situation.
I don't know if they were really trying to make a point. I think it was just, this is the absurdity of it. Because I don't remember who that director is, but I feel like he's not really one...
To make a point.
To make a point. Although now that I say that, I feel like it's Todd Phillips who did Joker. So I could be wrong. I don't know.
I don't know.
I'll have to look that up because I'm kind of curious now.
Also a new number 1 from Red 5, we have Mystery Brothers. This is the story of 2 brothers. Sort of. This is the story of a young boy whose parents are separated. I don't know that I'd say they're divorced necessarily, but they are separated, and the young boy is being forced to kind of spend a summer with his dad, and he doesn't want to have to go spend time with his dad because he hasn't seen him most of his life, and he's upset about the fact that he has to do it. And then he gets there, and his dad has an AI like android for a servant, like not really an assistant. She's kind of a housekeeper. She's kind of an assistant. She's kind of like a catch-all. He has this android. And so the son's like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then he sees that the dad has another son. And he's like, what's going on, Dad? Like, did you have another family? Like, did you move on? Like, what's the deal? And turns out the son was created. And we don't necessarily know the how and the why of how the son was created, but we do know that the dad is like, he is... for all intents and purposes, let's just believe he's your brother. And in the process of staying with his dad, something crazy goes down, and it now becomes up to the son to kind of protect this new brother from some situations that get really, really dark really, really fast. Totally did not go in any of the directions I thought this book was going in when I opened it up, and every page I was like, whoa, didn't know that's where this was going. Okay, now we're doing this. Kind of escalates very quickly in this story, much like a lot of Red 5 stories do. But I honestly can't wait to see issue 2 because I want to know where we're going, and see kind of how this chase that is developing will play out. But Mystery Brothers, issue 1 of 4, so it's not going to be a long story to get into.
Yes, everything she said.
It's like, I don't know how else to describe it. There's not really any other way to explain that story.
Nailed it.
Thank you. From Scout Comics, we have another nonstop number 1. This is Nocturne County. Did you read this?
I did.
Go for it.
This is Dr. Seuss for adults.
Yes.
That is exactly what this book is. It is... Because I opened it, and I started reading it, and I was like, God, this really gives me Dr. Seuss vibes. And then you get to that page 2 and 3, and you're like, holy shit, this is just Dr. Seuss.
It's just Dr. Seuss.
But with more real-world stories that are very sad and depressing.
They're all depressing.
Yeah, so you have 2 stories in here. One is about a detective who falls in love with an adult entertainer, and he thinks that she gets killed, so he decides to go out and kill everyone who played a part in her death. And, of course, you get the Dr. Seuss rhyming over it, which is just so silly while you're trying to read this, like, serious story. And then the second story,
Oh my god.
which is hella depressing,
Yes.
is about a young girl who lives in a foster home, and the father is abusive.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad.
Yeah, it's very sad. And it only gets sadder as the story goes on.
Oh my god. And it's crazy because you're like sitting here and there's like these like rhymes and the colorful art, and you're like, oh, this is, you know, supposed to be fun but tied to a lesson, and it's just sad.
It's like listening to pop punk music. It's really bright and loud and colorful, but you're really sad and depressed when you actually pay attention to what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is this. This is the pop punk of comic books.
Loved it. I loved it.
Which I mean, yeah. Yeah, it was funny because it does have those Dr. Seuss rhymes, it fools you into thinking something good is going to happen by the end of the story.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh no, the world is just terrible. Okay. God, it doesn't matter if it rhymes or not. It's still awful.
Yeah, and two, you also get like references to Dr. Seuss books.
Yeah.
Like there's like, you know, kind of play on different characters in the Dr. Seuss universe.
Well, and then the spine is a little golden book.
I did not even notice that.
Mm-hmm. So they were really going for the like kids book thing, but in all the adult things.
Yeah, if you like Dr. Seuss and you're an adult and you want to be sad, this is the book for you.
This is
really,
in a good way.
I really
pop
enjoyed
punk.
it. Like, I had a really good time. Even at the end where I was like, "Aww," I was like, "This was packaged very well." If you want to somehow package depression, this is how you do it.
Again, in a good way. He means this in a positive way.
Yeah.
You're not encouraging people to love it, but it's funny too at the same time. Like, there's a lot of comedy to it.
It's really funny. The art's
dark
great.
humor.
Yeah. And, you know, it's such a fun way to take a lovable child's
story and
yes.
retell it for adults. And it's kind of like, you know, hey, everything sucks. But it doesn't mean you have to not have fun with it.
I agree.
Yeah.
This was another one that was like, should this be a pick of the week?
Did you read either of these? Because I didn't.
I didn't, only because that's
way far in.
Yeah, that's like I feel like that series has been out for a while.
Yes.
And then,
just to tell you, we're talking about Resident Alien has a new volume that starts. We're not going to go into detail of it because neither one of us got to it, but this is part 1 of 4 of a new volume of Resident Alien. So if you're a fan of the show, this is another like jumping in possibly point.
Resident Alien was like one of the early 2000s.
It's a very long-running story. So, but I know a lot of people who this week were like, "Oh, I've been watching the show, so I'm kind of curious if I can jump in here." So, yeah, it's on Sci-Fi. There's a faux sticker right there that tells you. So, issue 1 of Resident Alien's new thing from Dark Horse, and it's the Book of Love. But
Bill Murray's in the show?
No, Alan Tudyk's in the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it stars Alan Tudyk. I don't know where you got
I
that
will
from.
watch anything with Alan
100%.
So, okay.
And then this is issue 2 of The Abolition of Man, and the first one went with the C.S. Lewis Abolition of Man essay. This does not. This is completely different. So now the next 2 issues are going to be this new story, which is the Hodtech. This is part 1 of 2 of that. So actually, the art in here is different. So this is, if you don't know, this is 100% done by AI. This is an artificially intelligence drawn book, and Phil's going to show the rest of you what it looks like.
Well, there was...
you had to get past there's some like nudity and stuff.
There's light nudity.
Yeah.
Comixology original?
No, this is a Diamond.
Diamond Comics teaming up with Living the Line Publishing. But it's pretty much Diamond.
Talk about some vertical integration.
Yeah.
But this is, they take a story and they put it into an AI generator and see what it is. What I like about this particular one is you can actually see not only the word that generates the art, but if there is a color mentioned in the sentence, the art changes color. So there's a point where somebody's like, oh, I was feeling blue, and that whole picture is all done in blue. And then they'll say, oh, the colors were changing, and the next panel has a different color. Or, oh, you know, there was a lot of greens going on. So it's really interesting to see how the AI picked up on the colors in the story, too. But it's very surrealist looking. I had somebody looking at it earlier today, and they were like, that kind of looks like Dolly's, like a Dolly style, if like a penciler was drawing in that kind of style. But so if you didn't read issue 1, it doesn't matter. It has no connection to this one at all. But issues 2 and 3 are going to connect. So it's just kind of an interesting experiment. I was going to say experience. I guess a little bit of both. In what it would be like if AI did art. I did have somebody ask me, they were like, do you think that this is the start of AI taking over on comic books? And no.
I mean, not taking over, but it's definitely going to be an avenue that will probably exist for a very brief amount of time.
Yeah, I think we'll see a couple of more people try to do it, maybe. But I don't think we're going to see, I don't think it's going to be a thing. I would never want to have an artificial, like all comics made by artificial intelligence, and I don't know anybody who would want to see all of their comics just computer generated. There's still people who don't want to see digitally drawn comic books. So, like, there's a lot of people in this world who have, like, art is a subjective experience, and people like it in so many different ways. And actually, the people who were looking at this today were father and son, and the father was talking about how he really liked, the old style, like the silver to bronze age and like golden age kind of style of art, like anything from golden to bronze is kind of his wheelhouse. And the son was like, oh, I kind of like the more animated looking art. And they were like comparing the different art styles, and they were like, oh, well, what about Alex Ross? Like, that's kind of like in between. It's more like a painting. It's a completely different, it's like a fine art experience. And the kid was like, ooh, I don't know if I like that. Like, it's kind of almost too painted for me. And it was so interesting to hear people comparing art styles from different generations and seeing what they like. Oh, I kind of like the smooth lines, and I like the rough lines, and just hearing something. And then I had another kid come in later today that was like, I don't want anything past bronze. Like, teenager was like, I don't want anything past the bronze age. Like, I want to see I want to see those that pencil work, and the stark difference in the contrasting and all of that. And so there's never going to be a point where everybody would be like, yes, I only want, like, computer generated. And if it comes to that point, it's probably going to be way past all of us dying.
Yeah. I feel like it's going to be fun for a little bit, but, I mean, outside of, like, this AI generator, which I forget what the name of it is, but, I mean, if you go on to, like, a lot of the ones that are available for the public, they're very limited in terms of what they can do. And the type of art that they can create. So I think at some point you're either going to have it generated by AI and then manipulate it, or some other way layer it on top of each other. But it's going to be really hard to create full-blown comics like you would read, even with like the big two stuff. Like, that's going to be hard to do.
Yeah. You just keep giving me artists, and there's 8 billion people on this earth, and I know a large percentage of them draw and paint and do art in different capacities. And until I see all 8 billion people's artwork done in comic books, I won't be satisfied. I need to see everybody's like art and creative moment on this planet.
So I need to start working on my comic book.
Get it together, Philip.
It's going to be badly drawn.
Great. I love it. I'm already in. From Comics Experience Publishing, we have issue 1 of Sparks of Chaos. Did you get to read this?
I didn't. It was the last one. But it reached a point where when I'm trying to get through piles, I look at the thickness.
Yes.
And if it's too thick, I'm like, I can't. I won't be able to do it.
That's understandable. That's how I rated at the beginning, too. Like, I'm like, okay, how much time do I have? I started on Wednesday. Let me read all the number ones. And then it's like, from there, I judge by thickness in the order that I put it in. Well, I of course, read this because you can see the cover is a modern a picture on a Grecian urn, so I was automatically in. And this is basically the story of a satyr who is in the modern world and is having to deal with the fact that Dionysus has been killed, and they are like, oh, if Dionysus doesn't come back, everything's going to be terrible. And they kind of just are dealing, we're seeing like the different like as far as we know, the old gods, the Greek gods, they're all dead. But we're starting to see that might not be the case, and this entire story deals with Greek gods. It deals with Greek mythological characters. We're seeing Sappho maybe reincarnated. It's so many different Greek things. But our satyr is a drunk and is not on top of his stuff. And while he's trying to deal with all of this, nothing is going the way he wants it to. And he is kind of dealing with inevitable failure. And if he fails, it's going to destroy the entire world. And now he finds out, probably like midway through this book, that Dionysus might have been reincarnated. And his job is to get this kid, who possibly might be the new Dionysus, to the place where he will be deemed correctly so and given all of his power. And again, dealing with the inevitable failure of the fact that he cannot keep his stuff together. A lot of fun, much like, we talked about Past the Last Mountain, and how it was just like, oh, where's this story going? And then suddenly it was just really cool, and you were gripped, and you get this oversized story that you, like, halfway through, you're like, oh, I'm totally sold. This is going to be so much fun. You get that kind of same experience with this. So if you're into Greek mythology, even in the slightest, you're going to love the characters that come up in this, and you're going to be excited about it. But it's kind of like Percy Jackson for adults almost, because you get to see all the gods along the way and the different things going on with it. So.
Yeah, I saw this cover and I was like, oh, Shann's going to love this book.
Yes, I told you. Greek urn, modern story. I'm in. And they use a lot of actual, that's one of the things they didn't bring up. They actually use the ancient Greek in there, and then they, give you the asterisk to tell you, they say it in real, in English, and then they give you the asterisk to say it in ancient Greek, or vice versa. They'll say something in ancient Greek, and then they give you the asterisk for the translation in English. So I love that. I think that it's always cool when we are showcasing other languages and stories. The next one from Red 5 Comics. We didn't see anything from Red 5 for a minute, and now we're getting a bunch of books at one time. Super excited about. This is issue 1 of the Atonement Bell. Oh, I told you I was going to hold this up this way, and I failed. Did you read this?
I did.
Oh man, what'd you think?
I really like this book.
Yeah.
I was quite impressed with this. So this issue starts out with, I don't think they're not demons. What would they? Because they don't even. I don't even know if they. Yeah, I don't really know who they are. But there's this totally badass dude in a horned skull mask, and it starts out in the 1800s, and he's killing all these priests in the middle of the woods, and he's like, I'm gonna come back every so often, and people who use fear as a weapon. I'm basically going to come back and you're all going to atone.
This spread was awesome.
Yeah, honestly, I saw this 2-page spread and I was like, oh, fuck yes. I'm in on whatever this is. As long as this dude's in it a bunch. And so, yeah, you find out that they're going to come back. And I assume the way that he said it is it's going to be religious people. Primarily Christians or Catholics. And then it fast forwards to a young boy and his mom who are traveling to see family during the Christmas holiday, and you find out that the father is dead, and that this is just kind of they're in their grieving process of it all, and decided to be around family. And it's great because the aunt is hardcore Christian.
Yeah.
And then, he's got the cool cousin that he hangs out with. And so this issue, you kind of get to meet these characters, and then they go to church together. Yeah. And that's really all I feel like you need to know.
You don't need to be told anything else, because it is all really cool. Honestly, this was one of those where I was like almost to the end of the book, and I was like, is this the pick of the week? Like,
It was very close.
This, like, is it? Like, I don't know. Maybe. And I almost asked you, like, what do you think of Atonement Bell? Like, right before, because the same thing. Like, I saw that spread, and I was like, this is going to be wicked cool. And then I love the character development we got for everybody. Like, I know this family. I mean, I've been in this family, but I, like, know this family, too, at the same time. Like, you know, and you're like, oh, I kind of feel like I know where this is going, and yet at the same time, like, I really want to see how it gets there. This is really, really good, and there were some little moments in here where I was like, oh, we're doing that. Okay. Yeah. And like, I was like, man, I cannot wait for issue 2. Like, this is one of those where I was like, I wish that they would have been delayed on issue 1, so 1 and 2 came out at the same time, because it happens sometimes with smaller press books, and I was like, oh, I was really hoping this, like, now that I've read it, I wish 1 and 2 came out at the same time, because I really need to know where 2 is going to go. Yeah. Hands down, check out Atonement Bell. It's such a cool book.
Yes. And hopefully we see more of that cool skull dude.
I don't know.
I just want to see
the nun, I'm kind of in for the nun, too. She's crazy.
I just want that skull helmet.
Show it again. Show it to Instagram, because they didn't see it.
Dope.
There you go. Yeah, that guy's cool.
That guy's badass. Like, I just want to see him go around just messing people up.
I have a feeling we will. I have a feeling we're about to get some craziness with this guy.
Yes, but at the same time, like, I don't want you to make me like the characters that could be in that path.
Yeah.
You know?
We'll see. Well, it's a little late on some of that, so. And then, lastly, for new number 1s, we have the return of Scotty Young's I Hate Fairyland. This is the Jenny Frison variant cover, because, I had to tease Phil with that. But this is issue 1 of volume 5 of I Hate Fairyland.
Yes.
I know that because I read all 4 volumes yesterday.
Yeah, the first one is 20 issues, collected into 2 very beautiful hardcovers.
Or trade paperbacks that are each 5 issues long.
2 very beautiful. Actually, I think they even came back and did one complete collection hardcover as well.
Yes. This is a series that's been going on for a really long time. Obviously, I think it was volume 3 was 2017, and saw the connection of, we saw some God Country Easter eggs in the 2017 volume 3 of I Hate Fairyland, which was super cool. I was geeking out over that. But I Hate Fairyland is the story. Actually, there's your recap right there of the all 20 issues that have come before. But I Hate Fairyland is the story of a young girl named Gertrude who is, in her little kid ways, is like, I want to go to Fairyland. That sounds great. And the rules of Fairyland are, if a child wishes to go to Fairyland, they will arrive so, and the only way they can leave Fairyland is if they find a key that will open the door back to their room. Now, every child in the history of time has done that very easily because they go on this cute little adventure where they make friends with all the people in Fairyland, and the Fairyland smiling sun and singing birds and all of that help them along the way. But Gert hates all of those mother fluffin' people, as she would say, and all of the things that they do, because she doesn't want to be in Fairyland, and she's not smart enough to figure out all the ways to do things. So 37 years later, Gert is still a small child on the outside, but is a 40-year-old woman on the inside who absolutely despises Fairyland. And after 4 volumes of much nonsense, lots and lots of killing, and a very, very angry Gertrude, we are finding out that Fairyland is not necessarily where she is anymore. In volume 4, Gert finally gets a chance to go back to the real world, and we see her at the very beginning of this, living in the real world and realizing maybe Fairyland isn't so bad. She's now kind of like in her early 20s, so to seem, based on like the way she's drawn, working a bunch of jobs. She can never hold a single one down, and every time she just thinks if I was in Fairyland, the way I would have handled this would have been so much easier. And mostly because she would have just killed everybody that made her mad. So she is nostalgic and wishing for the days of Fairyland, and we'll find out if there's any chance of Gert getting back there. But, you know, who knows what Gert's going to do, but I have a feeling things are going to get really wild really fast. Okay.
Sorry, I was
You took another drink.
taking a sip of that wine.
You felt adventurous. You dove in
all this
again.
talk of Gertrude back on her adventures.
You were like, oh, Gert hates Fairyland. And
Much as I hate this wine, probably.
Your face looks so great. Oh my god, I love it. Anyway, I Hate Fairyland issue 1 of volume 5 is out this week. You should pick it up and just marvel at how great Scotty Young is. It's so good. And Scotty Young is writing it, but it is actually drawn by Brett Bean this time.
Wow, they've got a Peach Momoko variant,
Yes.
Jenny Prison, and
An art
an
journal.
art journal.
And they're all fantastic.
That's ridiculous. But also great.
Up next, all right, we got some picks of the week for you. Again, if you're watching this on Instagram, we usually do this on Facebook Live, and then on Sunday nights at 9, you can watch us talk about our picks of the week every week. And then if you don't have Facebook, you can always catch it on YouTube the next day, and all of them are at Bat City Comic Books. So if you're looking to watch and hear about our picks of the weeks other weeks, that's how you can do it. This week's picks are going to be, I don't know which way to go. So I'm going to actually throw The Crashing in. This is from IDW. This is issue 3. This has been a series where issue 1 and issue 2 were actually just really, really good issues. I think we've kind of teetered every once in a while on whether or not we should put issue 1 and 2 in there. And issue 3, took this series into a whole amazing new level. It was so good. Honestly, it's really just in here for the writing this week. But if you don't know The Crashing, Crashing is all about a woman who is a doctor in a world that has superheroes, and she is also an addict. And she's been trying to control herself over time, but as she has been performing surgery on kind of like the Superman and a Robin kind of person, she's also having to do surgery on this mob boss, and it's something she does in secret. Meanwhile, her fiance is the politician who is running a campaign to basically have like the Mutant Registration Act for all people with powers, and kind of just...
Or the Sokovia Accords.
Or the Sokovia Accords, whichever Big 2 storyline you want to go with that has that kind of concept. And she ends up starting to use again. And the story has been really, like I said, it's been really, really good so far. But this issue actually starts with the backstory of her and her fiance. Or husband. He's her husband. They are actually married. And they are both standing at the graveside of a woman, and we don't know. He asked her how she knows the person that's been buried, and she kind of doesn't answer. And he's like, oh, well, she's like, well, what about you? And he's like, oh, it's my sister, and we were in the car together, and somebody hit us, and my sister died, and I survived. And so he has all this guilt, and then it shows them kind of build their relationship, and it shows them go through this relationship and him constantly like pulling her out of her using, and him kind of saying like, you can't do this anymore, and all the times that she's promised that she's never going to do it again, and all the times he's caught her doing it. And at the same time, we're seeing this current moment where the mob boss's people have come for her, and now they are threatening the life of her and her husband because they found out that she's working on these superheroes. And they are very much against that for certain reasons that you'll learn in the story. And while she has having to make these decisions, this is all coming out for the first time to her husband, who had no idea she was working for this mob boss, but he also finds out that she's still using. And so the whole thing, she talks about how, in these situations, like the only thing you do is that you break people and you destroy things, and all you leave in your path is this brokenness, and you see all this stuff happen. So it's got this incredible narration of this beautiful story going on over a backstory of a romance and a backstory of a couple falling apart and falling back together again, and this story of her getting attacked by these mobsters, and this story of these superheroes. And it was just like, you brought this massive world that you've built very small all together, and then exploded it literally and all in one issue, and you did it all with some extraordinary writing. So if you aren't reading Crashing, go back and grab issues 1 and 2 immediately and check this book out, because it is so well done. And we talked about it on the first issue. We were like, I didn't really like, I was like, oh, a superhero book, I don't really need an outside superhero book. And I always forget that this book is about superheroes until somebody says that there's superheroes in it.
Well, this is one of those books that, like, in that first issue, it's so, in such a really well done way, it kind of, like, opens up, you know, several doors of, like, oh, let's talk about her addiction, but let's also talk about the political side of superheroes in the universe. And also there's this whole mob story kind of behind this. So they put a lot out there, and sometimes that can be overwhelming, but it was done so well in the first issue. And then in that second issue, it was like, okay, now that you know all these little bits and pieces, now let's kind of start kind of pushing you down one specific path, and we'll touch on all that other stuff as we go. And I mean, the writing on this series has just been top notch. Some of the best. Yeah. So if you haven't started it, Crashing from IDW, it's on issue 3. It's a pick of the week. Check it out immediately. It's so good. It's an IDW original.
Yes.
Which, you know, we're kind of seeing those start to come out, and they've been impressive so far. It's been impressive.
I don't really care which way we go, but since I just did a lot of talking, I guess I'll go this way, because I know you read all of them, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But from Black Mask, we have issue 1 of Rogue State, also in our picks of the week this week. What do you got?
So this is essentially if basically the Second Amendment allowed for privatized militaries. All those crazy fucking people in the world who talk about having tons of guns and are preparing for a war. What if you basically allowed for them to be their own police groups? And there's a tons of them all throughout the country. And so this is the story of one girl. Well, that's potentially more, but in this first issue, we see one girl kind of navigating through this neighborhood that's being patrolled by a couple of different police forces. It's kind of like the Warriors, but if they were all police officers. And they're not really police officers. They just want an excuse to go out and, like, hunt people and beat people up.
They deputize themselves.
Yeah. And the cops are just like, look, I don't have the time or the desire to do the paperwork for that. So this kind of follows this girl. At first, they refer to her as Dusk Girl. She kind of is given a superhero name by this young boy who's watching her slowly take on her crappy landlord. And she's known as Dusk Girl because she has a drug with her, this kind of green glowing drug. And then eventually we see where that green glowing drug comes from, who I believe is a separate woman. They're 2 different people, right?
I think so.
Okay. I wasn't sure because I think they both have pink hair, yeah. It might be the same person.
I have to go back and check that.
No.
Oh, no,
This is a little girl.
Yeah.
Dusk Girl is like a young girl, and then there's the lady who makes the drugs. And so then it cuts to this woman who makes the drugs, and she lives in an apartment with, I assume it's her boyfriend, or they're just friends, but he makes moonshine. And it's them kind of like having this conversation about the world that they live in and how they make their money and a little bit of their backgrounds. And then, of course, they pop out their window to watch a few different police forces go head to head.
Militias.
Yes,
Yeah.
militias.
It's definitely an interesting book, and it's going to have a lot to say, and a lot's going to happen very quickly in this book. It's done by the creative team that did Calexit, which if you didn't read that, that's all about like what if California succeeded from America, essentially. And it's so great. Actually, the thing I love the most about it is that there's I'm not about the book, but one of the things I love about the packaging is that there is a blurb on the back from David Lloyd, who did V for Vendetta, who said, comics with a social comment, still a good idea. And I love that. I love that they took this and like sent David Lloyd a copy, because I think that book is more and more relevant all the time. And I love to see people who worked on books like that seeing these modern books that are continuing that kind of commentary and saying like, hey, like, yes, we still need this, so good job.
I also want to point out that right above that blurb is a blurb from Chuck D from Public Enemy, which says, the concepts Matt is presenting here are so familiar, they should be terrifying. And honestly, that's what drew me to this book, because I have definitely felt like we teeter on that being a very strong possibility of like privatized militaries just kind of like popping up in this country out of nowhere and just kind of doing whatever policing they want to do on their own. So it is a bit terrifying. But it's also very interesting to kind of see how that could potentially play out.
Without Muppets to save the day.
Yeah, no Muppets.
Yeah.
But this was one that was a pick of the week for me. One, because I really do enjoy the concept of it. But also I really love the art in this book. It looks really great. It's oversized, which I always enjoy. But
it's got black gutters.
Yeah, you got the black gutters. You've got the dude in the luchador mask.
It's got a little bit of everything that you could definitely want in these modern comics. And somebody asked me what this book was earlier this week, and I was like, oh, it's pick of the week. And they were like, yeah, but what's it about? And I was like, I mean, you can read the back and just know that it's probably a pick of the week. It's going to be great. And it was absolutely fantastic.
This page right here is one of my favorites. Yes.
And I love that, honestly, like, even with it being, like you said, all of those things for social commentary, honestly and truthfully, in this issue, we just saw, like, 3 individuals and what they were up to, and we didn't really talk about, like, anything going on really in the world. It's like they gave us the setup, and then we just kind of followed these people, and it was more about the people and people's reactions to things than it was about, like, you know, too much of the action of, like, what was going on with all that. So I thought it was really cool that we kind of just got to know these characters and how they respond to situations that are outside of their control in this rogue state. Yeah. And honestly, if you didn't read Calexit, you should read that too.
I never did, but now I really want to.
Yeah.
Because I was really impressed with this.
There's a free comic book day issue, so if you want a free comic book day issue of Calexit, I might have some left that you can check it out.
Is it a recent series? Like
2018?
Okay.
Something like
so
that,
it's all
yeah.
collected and finished and everything?
I honestly don't know if the last issue ever came out.
What?
Yeah, I'd have to check for you. But Black Mask has been doing some incredible books, and if you're not reading Black Mask and you like books with social commentary, read books from Black Mask, because they have a lot of them. And lastly, we have this really incredible retelling of The Giver. That's not actually what it is, but that's what it feels like when you read it. But this is Chroma. This is issue 1, and it's from Image Comics. This is, I'm going to hold it up a little bit better. It took me a long time. Honestly, I saw this cover, and I was like, I don't know what this book is. And then I read the book, and I went back and looked at the cover, and I was like, oh, I see the whole thing now. And it's really cool. But this is a comic where we are living in a world that has no color. Everything is black and white, and it's on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a city that doesn't want to allow color into it. Like, they even put ash over all the food. So it's
pale city.
Yes, so that they will never get, so that no color will show, because they are in a war, essentially, with the king of color, who has these giant lizards that will come and eat you and anything around you if they sense color. And we have a leader of the Pale City, who is training some young kids to be his kind of like his future replacement, the priest of his mission. And one young boy is their leader, and he's kind of the rule follower and the one that just completely abides by everything and just believes as he goes. And each month they bring in a sacrifice, and it's supposed to be a monster from the outside world. And when the monster arrives in this particular time period, they are torturing the monster, and it breaks somehow its head gets broken, and we see that it is not in fact a monster that lies beneath, but a young person who just happens to have colorful eyes. And the eyes, the boy connects with the eye of the person inside of this, and has to know more immediately. And the story from then on kind of shows us seeing the world through his eyes as he starts to see start to question everything around him. He starts to question what he's been taught, and literally actually questions the leadership above him, and starts to ask questions of and about this monster as he kind of explores the world. And the more he explores, the more the color of the world kind of starts to not terrify him, but make him want to learn more. And it's kind of like in Pleasantville, where like the more like they believe in something, like the more of the color they start to see, and the more we start to see color around those people. You kind of see that experience, but you also see what happens when somebody is completely and totally convinced by society that they are a monster, and that you're constantly telling somebody you're a monster, you're a monster, you're a monster, and how that can start to affect a person. And the way that they believe in themselves and the world around them. And it's one of those that it's the whole point is who's the monster and who's the man, and what is right and what's wrong, and should you question authority? And how do you do that? And what do you do once your eyes have been opened to the world around you in a way that you've been told forever would be the end of your life and your destruction? So really like cool concept. This is a square bound book, so you're getting a lot of story in this, but much like that recent adaptation of The Giver, which they just did a graphic novel adaptation, and I don't know if anybody saw it, but there's a scene in that where the kid throws a black and white apple, and the way the color like comes into play, like it starts, the apple by the time it lands into like the last panel is red. And so it like slowly gets more and more colorful, and then it lands. And I felt like all of those vibes while reading this book. Like it's like the more he starts to believe, like the trees start to even get more colorful. So it's absolutely a great way to tell that story. And I cannot wait to see what issue 2 does to further expand on that. And the covers are super cool. Like there's this one, but then the other one is like even crazier.
Yeah, the cover, I think that the cover is... alone is super dope. I think you covered it beautifully.
Thank you.
This was the first one I read, and
Me too.
I was kind of intrigued by it, but also I don't know if this is going to be one that I continue personally, just because it's not my kind of story. I do like the concepts, which kind of makes me want to stick around, the kind of color and lack of color, and I think it's going to be great. A great way to have very wonderful, beautiful art later on, you know. But I feel like I tend to not always get sucked into stories where it's like two kids who are kind of like bonding, you know, where a majority of the story is going to be kind of that friendship in a way.
And I think this will be more of a story of revolution and the two kids that are the center of it. Honestly and truly. This reads like a YA novel. And usually you have that first moment in a YA novel where they meet the thing, whatever that thing is, whether it's another person or another experience that opens their eyes to the fact that the world around them isn't what they've been told it was by all the adults. And then they and the other people that they've met through that all go against the... So I think we're going to see, honestly and truthfully, if I was to guess what happens in the next issue, is we're going to see some of the kids fall in line with him and start to open up their eyes to it, and you're going to see a lot of kids turn on them that are within that like priesthood. that are going to turn him in, and then there's going to be this ultimate big rebellion, and it's all going to come down to, like, him versus the leader of the thing. This is honestly going to be your big rebellion book at the end, and we'll see kind of, like, whether they end up going and, like, destroying the Pale City, or we're going to see if they decide to, like, leave and go out into the world and fight off whatever they've been told is evil, like, to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now, however, even though I say that this is not a book for me particularly, I will also say reading this that this is potential Eisner nomination for sure.
100%. They put this out right now for that reason.
Yeah.
This is going to be on your Eisner
surprised.
List for sure in some capacity. And I think it's only 4 issues.
But all square bound like this?
I think so. Let me double check. It might be 5, but I remember when I ordered it, I think it had the, like, 1 of 4. So it's definitely going to be that. And it is. It even says, like, in the synopsis, like, this is going to be all about, like, trying to, like, escape the cruelties of man and, like, figure out, like, what it is. So this is going to end up being a big rebellion book. Which is exactly, it's a dystopian future. Just in a different way, and so I'm excited to see how that's going to go, how that's going to play out. Let me grab what we got in stock. Sweet. All right. If you're watching on Instagram, this is our Wind Down Your Weekend show where we talk about all the new books that came out this week, specifically the indies, and all the books you might not have read. But we do want to make sure you know about all the other books that came in, so we like to go through our in-stocks to tell you what's happening. So, issue 4 of the latest volume of Wind, The Throne in the Sky, is out, and as usual with Wind, it's beautiful and gorgeous, and James Tynion is killing it. Batman, One Bad Day, this is the Mr. Freeze one-shot, which was also, like, just a lot of your classic Mr. Freeze, great time. Love that cover. If you're a Mr. Freeze fan and you like all the action stories of Mr. Freeze, you'll like it. You do get the recap of the general Mr. Freeze story at the beginning, but there are some things in there that weren't my favorite. Highball, this is issue 3 from Ahoy Comics. Dragon Whisperer, issue 2 of 4 of the new volume, which is The Search for Obsidian, and this is from Red 5. Catwoman, issue 49 with our 90s Rewind cover from Jim Ballant. Captain America, The Winter Soldier Special. This is all about Bucky's story that's spinning out of the Captain America story going on right now. From Keen Spot, we have issue 2 of Kintara Stone. From Image, we've got issue 5 of Above Snakes, which is Hayden Sherman's cool artwork, and some birds and some crazy stuff going on. DC versus Vampire All Out War issue 5. This is definitely one of my favorite DC stories going on right now. From James Tynion and Werther Dell'Edera, we've got Something is Killing the Children issue 26, and Matt didn't read it, which is why I didn't talk about it. Issue 8 of Immortal X-Men, and I love this, like, old Victorian cover. Issue 2 of Wakanda. This is a M'Baku story, which I love. This is Thunderbolts, issue 4. I guess I could hold it up and then hand it to you.
Well, I'm trying to get both cameras.
Star Wars, Dr. Aphra, issue 26. Star Wars Hidden Empire. This is a new number 1, and Charles Soule writing on that one as well. Rainbow Rowell She-Hulk hits issue 8, and I love this, like, prom dress, queen sash going on with She-Hulk. Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings. If you want to know more about the 10 Rings, this has been the big thing, and I think this one has the new origin of the 10 Rings in it. Nightwing, issue 98, which introduces Nightmite. So if you're a big fan of Batmite, now Nightwing has his own.
Would this be a first appearance?
I believe it is the first appearance of Nightmite. Issue 25 of Iron Man, otherwise known as Legacy number 650. Harley Quinn, Legion of the Bats, issue 2. This is part of the Harley Quinn animated show comics line. This is the Flash 788 with this throwback 90s Rewind cover. We've got the Marvel Tells Ghost Rider Danny Ketch story. So this has got 3 issues of Ghost Rider from the 1990s featuring Danny Ketch. We've got issue 5 of Chris Claremont's Gambit. See, look, it just all blurs right perfectly in with what who knows what year we're in. Dark Crisis, World Without a Justice League. This is the Batman Last Night Standing one-shot for that. Issue 6 of Black Adam's limited series that's been going on out this week. Issue 9 of Batman Superman World's Finest with this hilarious homage to the 90s with their capes and over their heads. I love it. Murder World Avengers, issue 1 with this great Scotty Young arcade cover. We also have Frank Frazetta's Death Dealer back with issue 7. We've got The Shepherd, the Valentine issue 3 from Black Caravan. We've got issue 5 of Cradle of Filth's cover from comic from Opus Comics. We've got issue 5 of Prodigy, which is the Icarus Society, which is Mark Millar's new book. We've got Triskel, which is issue 6 from Scout, and this is very Irish fairy tale. So if you're looking for some cool Celtic stories, you've got Broken Souls Ballads, issue 4 of volume 2 from Scout Comics. Namor the Submariner Conquered Shores Part 2. It's a new ongoing for people looking to get some Namor in their lives after the newest movie. Titans United Blood Pact issue 3 with a Derek Chew Nightwing cover, which I love that Derek Chew did. Like, we keep getting all the like cool Harley covers and all the girls and everything, and I love that we have a Nightwing one. And then GCPD The Blue Wall issue 2. And I didn't bring it because I threw it on the table for you, but Stargirl is back with a new title.
6-issue miniseries.
Written by Jeff Johns.
Heyo.
We've got some trades in stock. We've got Captain Carter, Woman Out of Time. This is the new Captain Carter miniseries that came out. That's the whole thing. We've got Buffy 97. This is that whole run, and that's beautiful Ginny Frizen Buffy cover. Venom Lethal Protector. This is the new Dave Michelini Venom Lethal Protector series. We've got the Order of the World Arkham City. This is the complete story, and I heard that if you didn't read this, from several people, if you didn't read this, you missed out on a great story, so now's your chance to grab it. We've got from Z2 Comics, we've got the new Rise Against graphic novel, Nowhere Generations. We've got, you ready for this, Phil?
Ooh.
The Stargirl trade is out. Not to be confused with the Jeff Johns story. This is one of Phil's favorite books this year for the art. You want to show him the inside?
I do.
I know you do. That's why I asked.
Look at it. It's beautiful. This is a pick of the week almost every time, I feel like.
I think it was, actually. And then in stocks that we have, if you're looking to catch up on some of the series we talked about, I do have By the Horns Volume 1, which I totally forgot to grab. But I also have Something is Killing the Children Volume 1. I also have Volume 2, which is always the hard one to find when you get into it. I also have Volumes 1 through 3, for sure, of I Hate Fairyland. So if you're like, what, that looked cool and sounded amazing, I want to jump in, there it is. And then lastly, I have this giant list of new comics coming out next week. So if you're ready and excited, I know a lot of people think like, oh, it's the week of Thanksgiving, there won't be any comics. Guess what? That's not the case. In fact, Wednesday is local comic shop day. So go out to a comic book store and support them because Wednesday is local comic shop day. It's the day to go out. There's also some exclusive variants on a bunch of the titles. It's a great day to go and celebrate your comic book store that you love. That's on Wednesday. I know a lot of stores are celebrating it both that day and Saturday. So take your pick. And speaking of, Bat City will be closed on Thursday for Thanksgiving and also Black Friday. We don't open on Black Friday. It's one of those things that we usually we've tried it a couple times and it's been like, you know, just go spend time with your family.
But what about the deals?
The deals will be available for you on Saturday because Saturday is Small Business Saturday, and that's when you should come out and support Bat City and shop at all the other local stores in your community and support those small businesses. We're going to have some great sales coming up this Saturday, and you can check out either here on Facebook or here on Instagram, wherever you're watching. There will be information about what those sales will include coming up tomorrow. So make sure you check back to find out what the deals are going to be this weekend, but also don't miss New Comic Book Day because all of these incredible books are coming out. We have Amazing Spider-Man 14, which is going to include the first appearance of Hallows Eve. We've got Department of Truth 22. We've got 8 Billion Genies number 8. Vanish number 3 from Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman. We've got The Scorch number 12 for all you Spawn fans. What's the Furthest Place from Here number 8 is finally out. Creep Show number 3 is out. Make sure you get to your stores early because that book flies off the shelf. The Image 30th Anniversary Special number 8 is out, which does include the teaser for the new James Tynion story. So if you're trying to catch that, another reason to get up. And out to your store on Wednesday. Stuff of Nightmares from R.L. Stine, issue 3 is out this week. Hitomi number 2. Once Upon a Time at the End of the World, number 1. G.I. Joe is celebrating its 300th issue. Dark Spaces Wildfire number 5. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 102. Sacrament number 4 from AWA. Mindset number 5. Ronin, book 2, number 1 from Frank Miller's new press is out this week. Eve, The Edge of the World, volume 2, essentially, of Eve from Boom Studios is out with issue 2. Bloodshot Unleashed, number 3. A Foulness in the Walls, which is the new Aftershock one shot, otherwise known as a one shock. Out this week. Parasomnia, issue 4, volume 2, Forever Forward, issue 3, Ancient Enemies, number 1, Fear the Red Planet, number 1, also from Aftershock, Lovecraft Unknown Kadith, number 3, Illusion Witch, number 5, from Sumerian, finally out. TMNT, The Best of Leatherhead, is out this week. The 06 Protocol number 2 is out. Nobody's Girls number 1 from Sumerian. Mysterium number 1. Justice Warriors number 6 is out, which I thought that one was over too, so I'm really excited. Mega Centaurians number 5. Action Journalism number 3. Cover of Darkness Origins. Really excited. Huge fan of Cover of Darkness from Source Point. It's another one of those Universal Monsters books that if you're a fan of Universal Monsters, you're going to love it. Heaven's Rejects number 3, Ice Canyon Monster number 7 from Blood Moon Comics, Sabretooth Dan versus the Moon. We loved Sabretooth Dan versus Brunch earlier this year. Now he's taking on the moon. And then just some of those big 2 books that you love. Daredevils issue 5 is out. DC versus Vampire 11. Human Target number 9. That's another one you're probably going to have to rush out to your stores for. Midnight Suns issue 3. Deadliest Neighborhood Spider-Man number 2. Dark Crisis Dark Army number 1, which is going to be your lead-in specifically for the dawn of the DC universe that's coming up. That is all kind of geared around Deathstroke's army, and that is what this Dark Army is going to set up. Star Wars Yoda issue 1, Aliens number 3, Tim Drake's Robin hits number 3, the Gotham Knights Gilded City issue 2 is out. There are codes in those for the Gotham Knights Gilded City video game, so if you're playing that game, you need those codes. Sergeant Rock versus the Army of the Dead issue 3, written by Bruce Campbell. Punchline Gotham game issue 2 is out. I'm very excited. And then Doctor Strange Fall of Sunrise issue 1, which has Dr. Stephen Strange back at the helm of the Doctor Strange title. So like I said, that's not even everything. That's just what I wrote down. I ran out of space on my paper. So it's going to be a huge week for comic books. There's going to be some local comic shop day variants. This is a great week to go out and support your local comic shop. Take your family and your friends and say, hey, you're in town visiting. I want to show you one of my favorite places, and show off your local comic shop. Your comic shop loves to have new friends come in, and of course we at Bat City would love to meet all of your friends and family as they come to town. Somebody said, literally just scooted past Bat City's location in Austin since I moved to Minnesota 6 months ago, and it made me super sad. That's...
Is the house next to it still up?
It is.
Dang.
Yeah, it's just like roped.
But they just cleared it out?
Yeah, and it's fenced up, is what everybody says. Thanks for going by, and we miss you too. But, if you're in the Bradenton area, come on by, say hi. If you're ever visiting, come see us. This is the only cold day we've had. I know it's been cold everywhere else. It's back into the 70s for us tomorrow, so you can come visit us and have a nice sunshiny holiday that's going to be bright. And other than that, like I said, don't forget we're closed Thursday for Thanksgiving. We're closed on Black Friday, but we will be open on Small Business Saturday with a bunch of specials just for you. As a reminder, just know that if you're watching this on Instagram, this show happens every Sunday night at 9 p.m.-ish on our Facebook, facebook.com/Bat City Comic Books. If you're not on Facebook, it goes up to YouTube usually by, let's say, Tuesday morning, just to be safe. But it is always there, so you can see the recap of the show, catch all the books that we talked about and all the ones that we loved. That's youtube.com, also at Bat City Comic Books, so you can find us on there anytime. And these stay on our Facebook, even though they're live. They're on here in perpetuity, so you can always catch it later. We just want to say we are going into Thanksgiving week. We are obviously very thankful for all of our Bat fam all around the world that's continued to support us, and all of you who stay up till all hours of the night and listen to Phil and I talk about comics on Sunday. We appreciate it. We appreciate all of you who support our nonprofit missions and who just share your lives with us. We can't wait to see where the next years and days and weeks and everything take us and all of you together. So enjoy your Thanksgiving holiday. We hope it is wonderful and amazing, and we will see you on Wednesday for Local Comic Shop Day, or on Saturday for Small Business Saturday. And if not, we'll see you on Facebook Sunday night at 9 p.m. for Wind Down Your Weekend. Bye!